Hi Scorpio, welcome to Carol's Universe, Tarot Readings from the Heart. So, um, we are doing the mid-month for you. So we're going to do a mid-month June 2025 month ahead reading. Yeah, so this is the mid-month. Some of this stuff you might have already experienced in June, I don't know, but we're doing sort of from the 15th until the end of the month of June 2025. This is the month ahead readings I usually have on my channel. Not channel. I usually have on my website for my personal clients. And as you can see, we're not sort of doing it on camera. And the only reason we're not doing it live on camera is because it's such a large spread to do. And I like to be able to fit in all of the cards. And I used to do it where it was always live for my clients. But now the spread is laid and I photograph it. And then I do a voiceover reading for this. Okay. I think, yeah, that's okay. And it's just easier because what that means is if when I've got a lot of these readings on, some of them I'm recording well into the night, and then I have to use obviously my artificial lighting like my ring lights, and sometimes they can just cast rings and light and shininess and shadows and blah blah over the cards, and it really spoils the effect, I think, for the client and for me. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to photograph these, and then we can see everything really clearly and lovely and, you know, nice and sharp. So yeah, this is the reading that I laid for Scorpio. Just want to quickly tell you what the areas are. We have the situation for the month. We've got your thoughts, what you're thinking, your fears, your hopes. We've got your, let me start again. We've got the situation for the month, your thoughts, your feelings, your hopes in this column here, your fears in this column. In the sixth column, we have the overall outcome for the month, and then we've got the overall advice for the month. These four cards here are what we call Lenormand. If you've never used Lenormand before, they're another form of divination. They're practically kind of like just below half the amount that you get in a tarot deck, so 36 cards in a Lenormand. Here we have the coffin, the clouds, the ring, and the bear. Okay. And together whereas with tarot you can read just one card for an answer, with Lenormand you're always reading a sequence of cards. So whether that's, you never read one on its own, you read like 2, 3, 4, 5, a sequence of cards to come up with an answer. So there's advice here through that. We've also used another deck. I think this is the Romantic Lenormand. If you're a male looking at this reading Scorpio for June, the rest of June, what we have is whatever it's very directional, the Lenormand is as well. So we look at what you're facing as a man. This is what you need to be focusing on for the month of June. If you're a woman, it's the Garden card here. So the heart, men need to face the heart, focus on the heart. Might be their feelings, might be expressing how they feel. It might be what brings emotional fulfillment. It might be the partner that they're with. For a woman here, what you need to be focusing on is the Garden. We'll explain that afterwards. I think this was the angel answers I used for advice for the month of June. And then we have, I think these two cards actually were clarifiers I'd used for this Knight of Wands in the overall outcome, or the overall advice card. And then finally, I think I used the Quantum Oracle deck. Yes, I did, for these two cards here. For advice for the month. And finally, we use the tea leaf cards, okay, Axe, Ward, and Lightning, for advice as well. Okay, lots of advice cards as well for the month. Okay, let's make a start then. So, situation for the month. Some of you guys, you got Judgment reversed. So, Judgment reversed, how I look at this card is it's almost like there's, how can I say? It's almost like some of you guys are being judged unfairly, because judgment reversed can mean that a judgment is made against you, but it's unfair. It's not right. It's not backed up with sort of information. It's not backed up with fact. It's almost like somebody's saying something to you and it's the wrong thing. Somebody's saying you've done this wrong, or you did this, or you did that. It's just the wrong judgment. So, and it's basically in the reverse. It's an error of judgment. So I actually feel like for some of you guys, a situation that could occur in the last sort of couple of weeks of June. It may have even happened for some of you guys before that. There could have been an error of judgment being made now towards you, Scorpio. Now, how you react to that is by the Ace of Swords. And I feel like you throw down the gauntlet, you know, you're kind of like, hang on a minute, this this didn't happen, or this is a lie, because you react to it by truth, because you're holding the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is all about bringing clarity to a situation. It's all about speaking the truth. It's all about being honest, but it's also about fighting your corner, because it's a sword. And if you look at this woman here, her sword, it's turned down, but she's kind of like, you know what, hang on, just stop right there. She's almost like put this barrier up with the sword. She's like, hang on, you're not going to go any further there, you know. You're going to just let me speak and speak my truth. So I think that you react to this kind of error of judgment, with the judgment in the reverse, Scorpio, by speaking your truth and saying, this is not true, by defending yourself, essentially, with that Ace of Swords energy. What is the outcome? Well, I think with the star energy, the situation is basically remedied with that star energy. I feel like there's enlightenment now on the situation, and I feel that the situation should be, to all intents and purposes, with that star energy remedied. I think also with the star energy, you might also be very respected because the star can also mean that you stand out. You are the star. You're kind of put on this kind of little bit of a pedestal because you stood your ground with that Ace of Swords. And you said, you know what, this is not what happened here. Judgment reversed. This is what happened, and I feel like you're respected for that with the star energy. You might be put on a pedestal for kind of standing your ground, and speaking the truth. Where are your thoughts at? What are you thinking? The Tower. I feel like with the Tower, your thoughts, for some of you guys, it might be, your thoughts could be quite fragmented with the Tower energy. But also I think with the Tower can be like a spark of new ideas. So I feel like for some of you guys, and there's a few things really, I feel like for some of you guys, Scorpio, your thoughts might be fragmented. I think though that some of you guys, your thoughts, it's not so much fragmentation with the Tower. I think that your thoughts could be on liberation and being able to break free from a particular situation that you're in with that Tower energy. I also feel like for some of you guys with that Tower energy, you've got this kind of surge of new ideas coming through. It's almost like you have this kind of inspiration, this like huge electrifying moment of inspiration that just kind of comes out of nowhere. But I think for a lot of you guys, your thoughts, your focus, your mind is very focused on breaking free, and also from breaking down old, old structures that really don't serve a purpose anymore for you. Okay. What's the reason for that? I feel like with the Page of Cups energy, because some of you guys are kind of very focused on something new. Some of you guys, the focus might be on being creative, wanting to be creative, wanting to do something that you've always dreamed about. The Page of Cups is a card about imagination and dreams. So I feel like the reason for wanting to focus on release, a focus on escape with the Tower energy, a focus on freedom with the Tower energy, a focus on liberation with the Tower energy, Scorpio, is simply because you've got this huge imagination. I think you've got this huge dream to do something new, to do something else. There's something I think that you really, really desire here. What is the outcome? The King of Swords. So I feel like with the outcome of the King of Swords, Scorpio, I feel like there's a real need to be realistic around whatever this is. Because the King of Swords, the Page of Cups is a great card to get if you are in the process of visualization, dreaming, imagining, having a great desire for something to occur, starting a creative process. I think all of those things have their place, and I think that they're wonderful. But the King of Swords comes in to bring clarity. And when we have clarity, we have honesty. The Page of Cups isn't always honest. That's the only thing. It's about, you could imagine yourself marrying, I don't know, the Prince of England. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Because you have to work out, well, how am I going to do it? Because the King of Swords is going to kind of like, well, you've got this dream, but we need to analyze this. How is this going to happen? How are you going to meet the Prince of England for a start? Where does he live? Where does he hang out? How are you going to get to talk to him? That type of thing. So I feel like some of you guys, your focus, your thoughts are on, I want to break free from something that I no longer consider to be particularly stable, or maybe it never was. Because I have this dream. Perhaps I have a dream of being an artist. Perhaps I have a dream about creating something new. Maybe it's a business. Perhaps I have a dream of winning the lottery. Whatever the case is with that Page of Cups, you have a dream to break free from whatever it is that you feel stuck in. But I feel like the outcome of the King of Swords is that some of you guys, this dream can become a reality, but you have to acquire the knowledge. And I think that some of you guys know that you have to acquire the wisdom. Now, the outcome might be with the wisdom that is acquired through reading. The wisdom is acquired through additional learning. The wisdom is acquired through talking to someone who has that information and has that intellect and has that skill and just has that general knowledge. But I think that some of you guys know that the outcome here is, I have the dream, I just have to have the knowledge and the know-how, how I'm going to, and the clarity, how I'm going to kind of bring this thing to fruition. So this might be, in this area here, for some of you Scorpios, a long-term plan. This might be not be something that's just going to change in the month of June, even though you really want it to. How are you feeling? The Five of Coins. It's interesting because I feel like this ties into this area here, probably Scorpio. I do feel that some of you guys are feeling, some of you guys, I'm going to be honest, some of you guys might be feeling depressed. The Five of Coins speaks to the idea of feeling lack. You can feel poor, you can feel impoverished, you can feel like an outcast, you can feel like you don't fit in. For some of you guys, you can feel with the Five of Coins, I feel devalued. So some of you guys, it might be being devalued, and I think that might be what it is, because this Two of Swords. So I think in the month of June, or the coming towards, the end of June, the last 2 weeks in June, some of you guys are feeling devalued with the Two of Pentacles, with the Five of Coins. You're feeling like you're not valued, or you're not being seen, or you're not being recognized, or you're not being listened to. And I think it's because with the Two of Swords, somebody is ignoring you with this Two of Swords. I think somebody is, for some of you Scorpios, blocking you out. Somebody is trying to push you out with that Two of Swords energy showing there, because the Two of Swords can mean somebody isn't listening to you. You see how those swords are crossed against this person's heart? These two swords are actually a barrier that somebody is putting up against you. So I actually feel it's because somebody is blocking you out, somebody is barring you, somebody is ignoring you here, and you're feeling like, I don't feel like I am liked, or I don't feel like I'm valued because somebody is ignoring me and blocking me out. What is the outcome? I feel like the outcome is some of you guys would probably be looking to kind of move away from that individual with the Three of Wands, because the Three of Wands is exploring new territory, exploring new land. It's going from land to sea, which means change. So I think that the outcome is that some of you guys, because you're feeling that you're being ignored and that you don't provide any value for a particular thing or a particular person, I think the outcome will be that some of you guys will be focusing on moving away from whatever that person or situation is. What are you hoping for? Well, a lot of these readings, I would say, probably on a month-by-month basis, Scorpio, are to do with new beginnings. Because I think that this is something that people constantly want, probably every single month, and are simply not getting. And no matter how many readers might come on YouTube and talk about, you've got this new beginning, 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 they keep speaking about it because people aren't getting the new beginning. It's something that people consistently want, but often they're not getting it. Some of you guys do want a new beginning with this Fool. And not just new beginning with the Fool energy. Some of you guys literally want freedom, because the Fool is all to do with freedom. The Fool is very similar to the Tower. It's about release, freedom, and liberation. Both cards indicate that. So I feel like there's a focus. What the hope is, I want this new beginning. I want this freedom. I want to be released from baggage that is being carried. And what's the reason for that? I feel like some of you guys are just so, you're feeling in a place where you're being, now with the Seven of Wands, that's a really interesting card, because sometimes the Seven of Wands can mean that you're highly in demand. So in other words, it can be a card that says you got a lot of people that are asking a lot of things from you. You see how this person here is kind of like trying to fight against those 6 wands down there. The 6 wands are all saying, give it to me. Have you got this? So this could be for some of you guys in the jobs that you do. Everybody's asking for something with the 7 of wands. Everybody's like, did you do this? Did you do that? Have you got this? Have you got that? When will that be available? You know, how long is it going to take for you to get this to me? Everybody's asking for something with the 7 of wands. So much so that you're battling against what everyone wants. It's a card about facing challenges and having to fight those down. So I feel like some of you guys, in one way or another, are facing challenges here with this 7 of wands. Hence, the hope is I want freedom from these challenges that I'm facing here. Regardless of how that manifests to you, I want freedom. I want my liberation, and I want freedom from this. Does this come to fruition? I certainly feel that for some of you guys it will, because of that Knight of Swords. Because this area here is, does the Fool happen? Does the hope that you want, does it come to fruition? I certainly feel with the Knight of Swords that something is going to come in. And I think for some of you guys it's going to come in very fast. I think it's going to come in literally as a surprise. I also feel with the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords isn't always a bad card. It's not a bad, I mean, it's not really explained as being a bad card. Sometimes it can be a challenger, somebody who's challenging, somebody who's causing drama, a fight, that type of thing. But often this is your knight in white shining armor, you know. Often the Knight of Swords, if you get an Ace of Cups, this is a person who's on a quest because of love. This is somebody who out of love comes to your rescue. So some of you guys, I feel like this does happen, but it could be that you're rescued with that Knight of Swords from whatever that 7 of wands is. It could be that there's some news coming to you, okay, that sort of relieves you of whatever that 7 of wands is. But I certainly feel something is coming in by the end of June that at least, if it doesn't completely release you, at least relieves you of whatever some of those challenges are that you're facing. What are you fearing? I feel like you're fearing disappointment and heartbreak towards the end of June. Okay. With the 3 of Swords, you might be fearing division, divisiveness. You might be fearing an argument with the 3 of Swords. I feel like some of you guys are fearing some sort of pain with this 3 of Swords energy showing here. Could be breakup for some of you guys. What's the reason for that? It's a really weird one. It says here the reason for it is because of the 4 of Swords. Do you know what? For some of you guys, it may be because you're still being ignored. This 4 of Swords and the 2 of Swords can be very similar. The 2 of Swords can ignore you, and so can the 4 of Swords. Both cards can just ghost a person. They can just ignore them. They can just pretend that they're not there. So it might be that you're fearing heartbreak, being upset because somebody, again, is just not listening. They're not listening with the 4 of Swords. I think this is someone here. I think the 2 of Swords and the 4 of Swords, I think they're the same person, possibly for some of you guys. Not being listened to, not being taken notice of with the 4 of Swords energy here. And that could cause some sort of division and fracture. So some of you guys are fearing division and fracture, disappointment, hurt, because somebody is just ignoring you. It's almost like somebody's devaluing you with this 5 of Coins here by ignoring you, and almost with the 4 of Swords acting like you're not there, Scorpio, with the 4 of Swords energy. How do you deal with that 3 of Swords? I think you just carry on working with the 3 of Pentacles. I feel like with the 3 of Coins, I mean, on this version of the tarot, I can't remember what it's Tarot Techa Studios. I get a lot of my cards from. They're an indie deck creator and they're incredible. This is one of my most favorite decks. Elemental Wisdom Tarot, I think this one is. It's just purely phenomenal. It's gorgeous. But yeah, I feel like some of you guys are fearing kind of that division, heartbreak, upset, pain, because somebody's ignoring you. Maybe somebody's withdrawing from something, but I think it's more that somebody's ignoring you. I feel like how you approach that is you need to, I think with this person here, I feel if it involves the person that's ignoring you, I feel like how you approach that pain is you're working together. Perhaps you need to work together with whoever this person is to resolve the situation. Or perhaps with the 3 of Pentacles, you just simply need to just carry on or get on with what it is you need to get on with, the job at hand, with the Three of Pentacles, okay? Or perhaps for some of you guys, you need to get some sort of guidance, advice. The Three of Pentacles can be about getting advice, mentorship and guidance from somebody who's got more informational skill than you do. So that could be it as well. Outgoing situation for the month, the end of the month. We do have the Five of Swords, unfortunately, here. You may be facing someone here by the end of the month who is trying to outwit you, perhaps. Disempower you, possibly, Scorpio, with the Five of Swords energy showing there. Possibly put you down. At the moment, I'm creating my own AI tarot deck. It's really cool how, I'm trying to create these characters that don't have necessarily swords or cups or wands or pentacles in their hand, but it's through their actions that explains the card. The Five of Swords for me has often represented people who are trying to take power over others because they like, for one reason or another, they just like to have that power. You can see here that this person here has turned their back, and this person here is saying, I'm in charge. I got your swords. I think there's two people here, it's one against two as well. But this person's like, I got your swords, you know what I mean? And it's funny because we've got the Two of Swords on here as well. Like we got the Two of Swords there. I just noticed that. That's really interesting. Yeah, two swords there, two swords here. So it's almost like this person is saying, I think you may be dealing with a person here. These Four of Swords, Two of Swords, and that Five of Swords person. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same person. But you may be facing a situation where somebody is trying to disempower you. Somebody is trying to show that they are stronger, show that they are, in charge, show that you are to fear them, or it's just trying to make you feel fearful, or trying to kind of disempower you in one way or another. What would be the reason that this person would be trying to do that? I think with the Nine, it's because of the Nine of Pentacles. It could be because if somebody's trying to disempower you because of the Nine of Coins, it's because you have something that they probably don't. The Nine of Pentacles deals with the concept of individuality, independence, but it's also a card about looking good, being beautiful, being resourceful, having resources. If you're a middle-aged woman, 40s, 50s, that's your Nine of Pentacles. You look good for what you are, you look really good. I feel like somebody is trying to disempower you by the end of the month, and I think it's because of jealousy, perhaps. The Five of Swords deals with the concept of jealousy. It could be because they're jealous. Maybe they're jealous of what you have with the Nine of Pentacles. Maybe they're jealous because you have money, or because you have resources, or because you look good, or because you're valued. Maybe they're trying to disempower you because they're trying to disempower your value. So when you get swords around the Nine of Pentacles, this can literally show someone who is trying to devalue you. You're already feeling devalued here, but you shouldn't let on to them that you're feeling that way, Scorpio, because they really want you to feel disempowered. They're doing it by blocking you out and by ignoring you here. You're feeling devalued, and you're also fearing a lot more pain coming from this person that's doing it. And this person, I think, in a way, some way, shape or form, Scorpio knows this, because by the end of June, some of you guys could be facing this person trying to do more damage in this card here. And I think a lot of it boils down to the fact that you know that you're good. You get me? You know that you are something. You know that you are valuable. You know that you are beautiful. You know that you hold a lot of value. The Nine of Coins isn't just about having material stuff. It's about knowing also I am of value. Even though you might be feeling it there, it's because you know really as a person, I got it going on in many, many ways. And you've got somebody who wants to just take that down. How should you approach the Five of Swords? You know what? Six of Swords, funnily enough, comes after that. You approach it by just bypassing this person. Ignore. The Six of Swords isn't just about moving to calmer waters. It's about literally ignoring someone. When you get a Six of Swords, you're bypassing them. You're kind of like, oops, oh yeah, I'm on this here, and I'm looking towards this thing here. And, you can stand there and you can do your thing. You can try and disempower me because I'm looking good, or because I know what my value is, or because other people value me. But you know what? I'm not going to allow whatever you're doing here with the Five of Swords to get to me. I'm just going to overlook you. So just overlook them. That's it. If you got to deal with them in one way, shape, or in one way or another, fair enough, deal with them. But in the devaluation of what they're trying, because I think you've got somebody around you who is probably trying to devalue you. That's what I think is going on here by the end of June 2025. But you deal with it by just overlooking them with the Six of Swords energy. Bypass them, overlook them, don't pay them any mind, if you can. Finally, what is the overall advice for the month of June 2025? I feel like with this Knight of Wands energy, you really need to be focusing on your passions. I feel like this kind of speaks to the area where we looked at, where your thoughts were. Your thoughts were, I want liberation. I want to break free. I've got this dream here, this fantasy, this desire with this Page of Cups. I'm wanting to start something creative and sort of lead on that. I feel like this is where this is. I feel with this Page of Cups energy, you've got to follow through on it with the Knight of Wands. If the Page of Cups, for example, is a passion to do something to creative, to start a new life that is filled with things that bring emotional fulfillment and happiness to you, I feel like the overall advice is you've got to explore these ideas with that Knight of Wands. You've got to take charge. You've got to move forward. You've got to be motivated in this. You've got to focus on your passions with that Knight of Wands energy showing there. I'm noticing the Knight of Wands is running into the clouds. The clouds in the Lenormand is all about depression and confusion, where you've got to kind of move through that as well, because that Knight is running straight through to those clouds. It's just like the focusing on your passions is the way that you're going to also conquer whatever that depression is, probably linked into the Five of Coins there. Now, the reason for that is because of the moon. And I feel like the reason for that is two things. I feel like for some of you guys, if you get down, like I sometimes get down, and I find that one of the best ways that I ever can get out of feeling in the doldrums or feeling slightly depressed or feeling slightly down is by working on my passions. I'm creating a tarot deck at the moment. I'm doing it myself at the moment. Doing it hand drawn is very expensive. We did start a hand drawn deck with a oh God, who was the artist? I think the artist was like a European artist. Amazing, but hella expensive to get all of the. We're still working on it, but it's a lot of money that's going into it. So I wanted to also work on my own AI deck as well, which I'm really, really loving doing at the moment. And also working on a little sort of yes and no deck that's sort of just a handcrafted thing. And I find that I'm also working on a book and this, that, and the other. I've got lots of little projects going on at the moment with tarot, but I find that getting through depression is it's going through my passions, going on to, working on things that I'm passionate about, exploring new things, doing new things. Some of you guys, you might want to focus on going abroad or going traveling or taking a bit of a break with that Knight of Wands energy there. And it's because I think with the moon energy that some of you guys, I think two things. One thing with the moon is some of you guys might be going through a bit of a dark night of the soul with the moon energy. You might be feeling a bit low mood, a bit depressed, that type of thing. And one way to kind of conquer that is to do things that make you feel good, do things that kind of raise your vibration with the Knight of Wands and make you feel really happy and make you feel really kind of like, yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this because this is something that I really am passionate about. I feel like also some of you guys with the reason to do this is because and also with the Knight of Wands, get active, go out, go gym, running, whatever, just move your body as well. But also I think another thing is the reason for doing for focusing on the Knight of Wands, Scorpio, for the month of June 2025 is because the end of June 2025 is because with this moon energy, some of you guys, I feel like you're really connected to your subconscious. And I feel like some of you guys have literally been trying to put into action some sort of law of attraction stuff. Some of you guys might be doing a lot of visualizing. The moon and the Page of Cups are very similar in that they like to visualize because they're both dreamer cards. So some of you guys have this kind of deep-seated, deep-rooted dream that you want to manifest. And I feel like the only way that you get to manifest anything is by not only raising your vibration, but by putting those dreams literally into action. A lot of that is going to take research with the King of Swords. It's going to take a reality check and being honest with yourself. It's going to take reading, learning, that type of thing. But I feel like if you have a dream, if you've got a vision that you really want to manifest, you've really got to take the steps and the actions, be determined and motivated, and really put to in order to kind of bring that to fruition. How do you make the month of June a good one, Scorpios? You do it by doing the Page of Pentacles. I feel so, with the Page of Pentacles energy, some of you guys work on a new project. Doesn't matter what, a creative project, a work project, whatever that project is, focus on working on new projects. Focus on your goals with this card. If you have something with this Page of Pentacles in your hand, if you have a resource, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an iPad or a laptop, and you like to make music with your iPad and a laptop. If you don't have a keyboard, you can get a keyboard that you can put on those things. Just giving you examples, because the Page of Pentacles has this resource. He's got this pentacle here, and he's like, oh, I've got this pentacle, okay. It's one pentacle. It's not millions of pentacles, but it's one. But I do want to make millions. What can I do with this pentacle? All right, I'm going to need to be resourceful. Some of you guys, it might be that you're at a place where maybe for some of you guys, money isn't great. Well, what can you do? And you want to make more money. Well, what can you do to make more money? You would do with the Page of Pentacles. You would use the resources that you have to make the money. What resources do you have? It's almost like it's saying for the month of June, how you make this month a really, really good one is if you find that there is some form of lack going on with you, Scorpio. What resource do you have? Nobody is truly missing anything. Everybody has some form of resource that they can use to create more. It's about when God gives you lemons, you make a lemonade. And that really, for me, with the Page of Pentacles, is often the ethos of this card. When God gives you lemons, you make a lemonade, because it's about taking whatever small resource you have and creating something out of that. So I think for some of you guys, how you make a really good month in June is by just taking what you have and using it to your benefit to create something more. Okay. Some of you guys, you've got this big vision, the Moon and the Page of Cups. You've got this massive vision right in front of you, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to liberate myself in your mental thoughts. I'm going to liberate myself. I'm going to get out of this, get out of that, because I've got this massive dream, blah, blah, blah. But the King of Swords will say, come on, take a reality check on this, because, this is a great dream that you've got, but I need to be realistic. What am I truly looking at here? And it's the same with the Page of Pentacles. I want this, I want this, I want this. But I got to be realistic and say, right, what do I have here then? What do I have that I can create this thing with so I can liberate myself, that type of thing? Let's have a look at your advice cards then. So firstly, we have Coffin, Clouds, Bear, and Ring. The Bear card is all about courage. It's a card about leadership, and it's a card about strength. The Coffin is all about ending. So it's not like the Death card where you've got this ending and then new beginning. If you've got a child after the coffin, it could be an ending is occurring and then a new beginning. But we've got the Clouds here. Now, Clouds in the Lenormand is all about depression. So what you're wanting to do, Scorpio, is you're wanting to end this depression here. Okay. The Ring is about commitment. But it can also, because it's round, it could be about something that is ongoing. So some of you guys, if you've had these ongoing worries, if you've been worried about something and they've been ongoing, I feel like you've got to have the strength to end it. Okay, so if there's an ongoing worry or an ongoing fear or something that is being continuous, because remember, when you've got a ring, anything, whether it's tarot or Lenormand that shows you a cylinder shape, is it cylinder or I don't know what, a round, let's just call it round, a round shape, it means it's continuous. It's just a continuous thing. So if there's a continuous worry that you've been experiencing for quite some time, you've got to have the strength to end it, to put a stop to it, because the Death card means stop. So have the strength to stop anything that is continually worrying you, I would say, in the month of June. Just have the strength to do that, if you can. It's funny, and I forgot to say, these two cards here, where we were talking about the overall advice is to focus on your passions, I clarified that, and I was like, well, what passions are these? Well, it's about working on something that brings emotional fulfillment with the Knight of Cups. Because the Knight of Cups, coupled with the Eight of Coins, can be about working in something that you really love, you really care about, and something that brings that something that you're passionate about. So it is all about working on something that you're passionate about. Going here to these cards, then let's get my booklet, the Quantum Oracle. So the advice is you got Courage reversed. It comes under the Energy tab. So let me just get the energy stuff up here. No matter how much I might try and keep these readings shorter, they're difficult to do shorter because there's so many elements to it, and so they end up being 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Let's have a look. So, and where are we? Just trying to get to the energy tab. Come on, where are you? Energy tab. Intention. Oh, here we go. Energy. So it's the number one, I think, that card is. Let's just get to number one. Let's have a look. So energy. There we are. I think this is the one here. Courage. So let's have a look at the reverse. So the advice for the reverse is Scorpio. When the Courage card is reversed, it puts you on notice that there is or soon will be an important situation that calls for you to step out of your comfort zone. This may seem frightening to you, and you may have been avoiding it for a while, but the time has come for you to challenge yourself. In fact, this card reversed may require no less than radical action. The action you need to take could demand a deep shift within the logistics of your life, like getting a new job or even an entirely new career. On the other hand, there may be more of a personal change required of you. Immense courage is needed to let go of addictions such as drugs, drinking, gambling, or overeating. But you have the power and the courage within you to take significant action now. Such choices are truly life-changing. Although the battle you're waging may be within yourself, it is well worth the effort. Okay, and then finally we want to do behind the mask on this one. So that's the first bit of advice. And then we're going to go to intention, which is the other area. I really need to get tabs on this book. So let's go to intention. There we go. So we've got number 3. And so it's behind the mask is the other bit of advice for you here. And the advice is, okay, let's have a look here. So this card reveals an important conflict in your intention, Scorpio. You have times when you view yourself as so depleted you believe you must hide who you are and pretend to be someone you're not. This gets you into a whole lot of mental messes. You compare yourself to others, always competing and often losing in your own mind. Your perfectionism can create performance anxiety and cause you to worry about what others think. Worst of all, this ongoing current of self-judgment becomes a raging energetic river that pushes your goals away. It's absolutely impossible to attract your real desires if you never allow yourself to be the real you. This card is telling you that you can and must shed this false condemnation of yourself, no matter how deep this pattern is. Your value comes from your eternal truth, not from others' input. So choose to relax and let the mask go. Open up to Spirit's light within and around you and be yourself. When you accept yourself as you are, no matter what anyone else may think, you will feel completely liberated, perhaps for the first time in your life. Okay, brilliant. So here we go. These two cards, the angel. So the situation will improve. Unlikely. And I thought that's really interesting. Does it mean that the situation is unlikely to improve? It could be with someone here. You know, what we were reading on, it just feels like somebody's trying to block you, or somebody's trying to kind of, feels like they're ignoring you, and at the same time they want to kind of, you know, disempower you. So I'm just thinking that in the month of June or towards the end of June, you might be dealing with somebody who really, really, really just wants to kind of tear you down by using various tactics. Okay. And as I've said, the advice really how you deal with this individual is just ignore them. Six of Swords is a kind of ignoring people, bypassing them, just being like, you know what, I'm just, you know, I'll deal with you where it matters, but anything other than that, I'm just not being a part of that. And so I feel like there could be somebody around you like this in June, and I feel like the advice is the situation will improve, but it might be unlikely with this person. So I think, you know, whoever this person is that's trying to disempower you, I just feel it's unlikely the situation And sometimes that's just the way it is. You know, life, just because we do tarot, life isn't all hearts and roses, and we don't always have to say, you know, I remember when I was used to be on years ago and people used to say, oh, you're so negative, you're so this, you're so that. But it's not about being negative, it's about being realistic. And there are people in life who genuinely just want to cause people a whole load of grief because they're jealous or they don't like you or they don't like the way you look or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, if that's within an individual, at times, or sometimes you're just not going to be able to change that. Sometimes it's just something, if that's within a person to do that with you because they don't like the fact that you're valued, or they don't like the fact that you look good, or they don't like the fact that you're beautiful or pretty, or you dress nice, you got a nice figure, which can be the Nine of Pentacles in all of those things, or that, you keep yourself looking great or slim or whatever the case may be. If you get somebody like that, as in a Two of Swords person and a Four of Swords person who wants to kind of like say, you are not valuable, I'm just going to pretend that you're not here, and at the same time I'm going to try and put you down at the same time as well, just so I can really get that double whammy in there, so I can kind of hit you down to the ground. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, you're just not going to change who they are, because if they don't like you, they don't like you. And if they've got an issue with you when really it's an issue with themselves, that's just what's going on, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So is the situation going to improve? Probably unlikely, but you just need to focus on the people that you care about. And also, some of you guys, what can you do to conquer this area here? Just focus on the work that you're doing. If it's a work thing, just look how the cards are looking. They're looking towards the Three of Coins. Just focus on your work. That's it. So yes, for some of you guys, that situation is unlikely to, get better, unfortunately. What do you need to focus on, though? You need to focus on the garden, Scorpio, for a female. So for some of you guys, focus on getting out. Focus on socializing with people that you really like. Focus on getting out into the community. Perhaps you want to do things in the community for some of you females watching. Focus on going out with family and friends, celebrating, social interaction, that type of thing, focus on your home. The garden can be a kind about your environment that you live in, for example. So maybe you want to make some nice changes to your home, that type of thing. But yeah, sometimes this can be about the virtual space as well. So maybe you want to focus on getting online and doing a few things on there. Maybe setting up a YouTube channel or doing something on setting up YouTube, Twitter or X, whatever they call it. Yeah, just focus on kind of interacting with others if you're a female. I think if you're a male, you need to focus on kind of like being around people that you love, nurturing relationships that that are really important to you. Also, I would say here, focus on your emotional well-being as well if you're a male as well. Just focus on kind of like, if you're bottling things up, focus on opening up and letting those out. Focus on loved ones, people that you really care about, that type of thing. And also focus on things that you're passionate about. Finally, these three cards here, I'm just going to bring in this so we can see better. Right, so we have the Axe. See, force is working against you. That's why I think I'm seeing this Two of Swords and the Four of Swords person here that's trying to devalue you here. And the one that you're probably feeling a little bit sort of shut out by, abandoned by, and devalued by. I think we've just got somebody like that around you in June. And I think that this could be somebody who's working against you. But I think the advice is that there's some misunderstandings going down here with this person. That misunderstanding, I think we saw that in the Judgment in the reverse here, though. Okay, I think you can clear that up, but I feel like if you see that there's somebody here, it's one thing to ignore someone, but it's another thing to try and disempower them at the same time. And some people are just like that. Control your anger, because this may be someone that you don't want to kind of show stuff to, because I think that they could try and do all sorts of things to try and sabotage. That's another card there as well. The Five of Swords means to sabotage another individual. I just feel like you're dealing with somebody who's the Four of Swords, Two of Swords, and they're definitely that Five of Swords here. You can see that they're carrying that the crossed swords on their shield there as well. It's definitely this person. So yeah, they may be working against you. And it could be because there was a misunderstanding. I don't know. But, just try and control your anger. Try not to lose it with this individual here. As it says here, just bypass them. Just let them get on with it. That's what I would say. All right. That is your reading, Scorpio, for the rest of June. Have a good one. I'll try and come back in July. I'm taking some time out in July, actually. I know that I don't read for many people. Hardly anybody watches this channel anymore. But you know what? I just thought I'm just going to come and do it anyway because I enjoy it. And, you know, it's just it's another creative outlet for me as well. And yeah, just have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.